Sorry, but modern Star Trek's true Kirk and Spock replacement is Jack Quaid's Boimler and Tawny Newsome's Mariner. For nearly 60 years, Star Trek has been fueled by iconic character pairings. From Kirk and Spock to Picard and Data, from Janeway and Seven to Burnham and Saru, the franchise thrives on duos that highlight the heart of Starfleet, the balance between logic and passion, discipline and rebellion, command and chaos. Yet when fans look for the modern successor to the legendary dynamic between Captain Kirk and Commander Spock, they often look to live-action series like Star Trek, Discovery, Picard, or Strange New Worlds. The truth, however, may be found in a far more unexpected place, the animated comedy Star Trek, Lower Decks. Yes, it sounds bold, but Jack Quaid's Ensign Brad Boimler and Tawny Newsome's Ensign Beckett Mariner are the truest heirs to the Kirk-Spock dynamic that modern Trek has produced. While on the surface, they appear to be chaotic, exaggerated versions of Trek archetypes, Boimler as the by-the-book overachiever, Mariner as the rebellious rule-breaker, their chemistry, complementarity, and evolution together capture precisely what made Kirk and Spock so compelling in the original series. They represent two sides of the same Starfleet coin, and in their friendship, Trek finds its most authentic modern echo of its roots. The original dynamic, Kirk and Spock. Before diving into Boimler and Mariner, it's worth revisiting why Kirk and Spock worked so well in the first place. Captain James T. Kirk embodied instinct, charisma, and daring, a leader who trusted his gut and embraced risk. Spock, his Vulcan first officer, brought logic, restraint, and a cold rationality that grounded Kirk's impulsiveness. Together, they were not opposites in conflict, but complementary forces, each making the other stronger. Their friendship transcended differences and became one of the most enduring bonds in television history. This dynamic wasn't about constant agreement. It was about contrast leading to balance. Kirk needed Spock's logic as much as Spock needed Kirk's humanity. And while other Trek duos have carried shades of this, Sisko and Dax, Janeway and Tuvok, Kirk and Spock remain the archetype. Every future pairing has been measured against them. Enter Boimler and Mariner. At first glance, comparing Kirk and Spock to Boimler and Mariner seems absurd. Lower Decks is a comedy, after all, and its leads are not the bridge officers calling the shots, but junior ensigns cleaning up after away missions and shuttling gear. Yet that's precisely what makes their dynamic so interesting. They aren't mythic heroes yet, but their personalities echo the same archetypal interplay. Boimler as Spock's heir. While Boimler is not logical in the Vulcan sense, he embodies the obsessive devotion to Starfleet procedure, rules, and regulations. He is Spock's commitment to order, dialed up to comedic extremes. Where Spock quotes logic, Boimler cites the Starfleet Handbook. Both often serve as foils to their more chaotic partners. Mariner as Kirk's successor. Beckett Mariner embodies Kirk's swagger, instinct, and disregard for rules when they stand in the way of doing what's right. She thrives on improvisation, charisma, and a knack for reckless heroics. Like Kirk, she frustrates authority but always wins respect when the chips are down. Together, they form the same kind of balance Kirk and Spock once did, though in a hilariously exaggerated, millennial form. Mariner pulls Boimler out of his comfort zone, while Boimler tempers Mariner's impulses. And just as Kirk and Spock's bond was strengthened by their deep respect for one another, Boimler and Mariner's friendship grows from a foundation of trust, loyalty, and mutual admiration beneath all the bickering. Comedy as camouflage. What makes Boimler and Mariner such an underrated duo is that their relationship is disguised by Lower Decks' comedy. Because the series leans into parody and slapstick, fans sometimes overlook how sincere its character work truly is. Yet beneath the jokes about buffer time and holodeck malfunctions, Lower Decks consistently delivers one of the richest portrayals of Starfleet camaraderie in the franchise. The humor actually sharpens the Kirk-Spock parallels. Kirk and Spock often clashed in ways that bordered on comedic, the hothead human versus the deadpan Vulcan. Boimler and Mariner take this to the next level, with Quaid's neurotic shrieks and Newsome's sly smirks amplifying the archetype for a modern audience. The comedy makes the relationship accessible, while the sincerity grounds it in classic Trek tradition. Moments that prove the parallel. Several Lower Decks episodes highlight just how closely Boimler and Mariner mirror the Kirk-Spock relationship. In Voyager's Season 1, early on, the show establishes their dynamic. Boimler wants to play it safe and earn promotions, while Mariner believes in cutting corners and improvising. Their clash recalls Kirk ignoring Starfleet protocols with Spock reminding him of the risks, but in this case, both are ensigns, and neither can claim authority. Crisis Point Season 1, Mariner's holodeck movie parody paints her as the larger-than-life action hero, exactly the role Kirk would play, while Boimler awkwardly stumbles through as the by-the-book foil, inadvertently echoing Spock's grounding role. First Contact Season 2 Finale. The duo's loyalty to one another shines as Mariner risks her career to support Boimler, who steps up in heroics far beyond his usual comfort zone. This echoes Kirk and Spock's willingness to sacrifice for one another. Parth Ferengi's Heart Place Season 4. In the Ferengi-dominated storyline, Boimler's awkwardness and Mariner's reckless bravado once again find balance. What could easily be disaster turns into triumph precisely because they bring out the best in each other. These aren't just funny subplots, they're genuine Trek storytelling, disguised as comedy. The lessons about friendship, balance, and growth remain at the core. Why Boimler and Mariner work in 2025. Kirk and Spock were products of their time, the confident, adventurous captain and the coolly logical alien. Today, audiences resonate more with characters who are flawed, self-aware, and struggling with the pressures of modern life. That's exactly what Lower Decks delivers through Boimler and Mariner. Boimler represents millennial anxiety. He's ambitious but insecure, desperate for validation, constantly second-guessing himself. Many fans see their own work-related stresses mirrored in his obsessive devotion to Starfleet hierarchy. Mariner represents disillusioned rebellion. She's competent but frustrated, brilliant but unwilling to play the political games of Starfleet. Her skepticism and sarcasm feel deeply modern, yet she still clings to an underlying belief in Starfleet ideals. Together, they reflect the duality of modern Trek fans themselves, the ones who crave the structure and optimism of Starfleet, and the ones who critique its flaws while loving it anyway. Like Kirk and Spock in the 1960s, they embody the tension of their generation. Beyond the Lower Decks, what makes the case for Boimler and Mariner even stronger is that their influence has expanded beyond Lower Decks. Jack Quaid's Boimler crossed over into live action in Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, bringing his nervous energy and dynamic with Mariner into a new context. Seeing him in the same universe as legacy icons solidified just how naturally these characters fit into Trek canon. Meanwhile, Newsome's Mariner remains a fan favorite, her irreverence often compared to the very swagger that made Kirk iconic. Both characters have become pillars of the modern Trek era, proving the